Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my review of Prometheus. This, of course, came out, excuse me, in 2012, and in anticipation of Alien Covenant's release this, on the 19th, just within a couple days. For some reason, I never watched this movie. But I found it on Blu-ray and decided now is the time for me to actually check it out and get my thoughts out there before going to see Alien Covenant this weekend. We'll probably be seeing it on Sunday, so our review of that will probably be out like either late Sunday night or sometime on like Monday or Tuesday. And I just want to say, this isn't going to be the most in-depth review. It's really just going to be a fan just generally talking about what he liked and didn't like, and just giving some brief thoughts. Don't watch my video right now expecting like any kind of analysis or profound understanding or anything like that. Because that's really not my style. I'm not that intelligent. But also, Prometheus is a movie that I really think you have to watch more than once. I'll admit I didn't, fully understand everything. I feel like I have some grasp of it in general, maybe, but I definitely didn't, fully get everything on the first go around. And even if you kind of do or whatever, I feel like it's still something worth watching again. Just to appreciate, just little bits of it. By seeing it again, you'll recognize some things, or you'll pick up on things a little bit better. I don't know. But, so maybe it's not the right time for me to do a video on it. Maybe I should watch it again. I probably will at some point eventually, but I still want to get my thoughts out there in time for Alien Covenant. So, seeing it for the first time, it seems odd because I really like the Alien movies. I enjoy the Predator movies to an extent. Although, they're not the greatest. I find the Alien movies to be more entertaining and interesting. But I love the Predators as species and like them more as characters and things like that. I even like the AVP movies, okay? Although I was probably a little bit too generous with them in my reviews I did a while back. I still find them to be enjoyable. So I like anything to do with this type of world and universe. And this is sort of a prequel, but prequel to the Alien films anyway. But it stands on its own. It has these loose connections, sort of nods and similarities and parallels to something we might see in an Alien movie, and little connections here and there to a certain extent. But it's not meant to be like another Alien movie. Really. I know I'm confusing the way I'm talking right now, but I think a mistake a lot of people made when this movie came out was going into it expecting like a Alien or Aliens or something like that. It's not like that at all, and I could see why people would have been disappointed with going in with that mindset. But I guess that's one of the benefits of waiting a few years to watch it, is that I heard what it's like. I didn't hear like spoilers, but I heard the kind of movie it actually is. So I went into it ready for that kind of film, and I think I came out on the other side a little bit better for it. I like this movie a good amount. Like I said, I think I need to watch it again to fully get my handle on it, but I know I liked it. Of course, this movie, it was directed by Ridley Scott. It's good to have him back from the original films and everything. And I'll just say right off the bat, I don't know if I could put it over like Alien or Aliens. Again, very different movies, but I will say it was infinitely better than Alien 3. Some things about that movie I kind of liked, but this is definitely a superior film, no question about it. Not even bothering with Alien Resurrection. So really, it's probably, just depending on what you want, it's probably like within the second or third best Alien film. For me, that's how I kind of see it. And it, of course, like I said, directed by Ridley Scott, and he did some amazing work in this movie. Just the camera, the cinematography, the visuals, just like the aesthetic of it, and just like everything. Like this planet, it looks amazing the way it's shot. You really take it all in at the beginning of the film, and it's really well realized within the movie, I think. It looks great, and it stars Michael Fassbender, Charlize Theron. Idris Elba is also in this. Oh yeah, then Naomi Rapace. I probably can't. I probably butchered her name. But also Guy Pearce, and those are the notable members of the cast. But also Ian White. He's dressed up as some of the engineers in this movie. He's done a lot of stunt work. He did work as the Predators in the AVP films too, which is cool. But anyway, so the cast, it's a pretty impressive cast. Michael Fassbender, he's probably one of the most well-renowned actors, working nowadays. He's gaining more and more, popularity and recognition, I think. Really like him as Egon Magneto in the X-Men films. He even seemed good in Assassin's Creed, even though I didn't see it. So the cast, it's really well stacked. Before I get into a little bit more about the movie, I should try to explain the very, very thin, basis of the story. Now that the story's thin, but I'm just going to explain, just the initial, setup of it, basically. I'll read it off of Wikipedia. Hold on. Okay, set in the late 21st century, centers on the crew of the spaceship Prometheus as it follows a star map discovered among the artifacts of several ancient Earth cultures. Seeking the origins of humanity, the crew arrives on a distant world and discovers a threat that could cause the extinction of the human species. So, you find out some things about how these engineers, as they end up calling them, are, tied to humans' existence, how they may be tied to, xenomorphs' existence, and different things like that. And there's a lot of, there's some underlying themes in this movie, again, I'm not going to explain this the right way, but just how they sort of touch on, people, like our existence, our creation, and how they go into just different perspectives on all of that. I thought was actually handled really well. And there's other things going on with that. And the story of the engineers and the history and lore that they, reveal with them, it's not much, they, just tell us, but I thought it was all really interesting, and there are a couple different ways to look at it to make it sort of complex, and I really appreciated it. It's one of the most complex movies I've seen in quite some time. I know there's going to be some people that said, oh, you're stupid, how could he not get it, but yeah, I'm just admitting, I'm just being honest. So really, I thought it was a well-handled story. It had a great tone to it. It felt, dark. It felt, sort of eerie, I wouldn't call this a horror movie either. On Wikipedia, I'm just reading it. It just says science fiction film. And, that's it. It's not really a horror movie necessarily. I'd say it's more like a science fiction, thriller, with maybe, elements of horror in certain moments, I guess. So, yeah, the plot, it's probably the best part of the movie. Michael Fassbender is pretty good. He's a little bland, but that's because he's playing an android, so he's going to be a little bit robotic, of course. And I thought he did well with, showing that. And he still managed to, make David an interesting character, the android. He seems very menacing, he seems very creepy at times, and he has these other ideas in his head, but he's also sent, by Wayland and everything, Peter Wayland. So there's a lot of different, things at play here, just in his head alone. And just the way he goes about and talks to the rest of the crew, there's some really interesting conversations there. Idris Elba, I liked him a lot in this movie. I actually forgot he was in this until I started watching it. He was probably the most likable character in the movie, I thought. At first he kind of comes off like an overconfident captain of the ship, but then he has more humanity to him than most characters in the movie, it turns out. And I like how he handled things in the end. He kind of sacrificed himself and everything. But spoilers in the title. I'm sure most of you have seen it by now anyway. Charlize Theron, I liked her too, but I felt like she was a little bit underutilized in this movie. I just felt like there were things with her character I could have gone into a little bit more. She's the daughter of Peter and everything. There's even theories out there that she was an android herself. I just felt like they could have given her just a little bit more to do. Given us a little bit more focus on Vickers, her character. But I did like her while she was on it. I don't think she's an android either, because her and Idris Elba's character, they end up having sex. We don't see the scene happen, but we caught like right after they said they're gonna meet in 10 minutes. So, and actually, if she is an android, we might see more of a reaction, other than just jumping to the next scene. And then Nomi Rapace, or I can't pronounce names apparently. She sort of turns out to be our protagonist in the movie, which I was kind of surprised by, because I didn't like read up anything on this movie. I just remember what I'd heard from other fans over the years and stuff. But she plays Elizabeth Shaw. At first I thought she was more of a supporting character, but no, she turns out to be our sort of perspective character, really. And there's a really intense scene, where one of those, she ends up having to get something out of her stomach. It's pretty intense, kind of graphic, but nothing like too overboard, I thought. But I like how that was all done. I thought she gave a fine performance. I thought, she evoked emotion and the fear of everything really well, the paranoia and just everything she was going through. She also loses, her love interest and everything. So I thought she did fine. I don't think she's really a memorable character in any of these movies. She's no Dutch, she's no Ripley or anything like that. But I thought she was okay as far as performances go. Let's see. I'm just reading like other actresses are actually considered for the role in the movie. Anne Hathaway, I think she would have been pretty good. Natalie Portman, I don't know. So let me look through these real quick. Gemma Arterton. Not sure if I recognize her. Just give me a second. Yeah, I can kind of see it in a way, I guess. Sorry that I'm just randomly going through all this. Yeah. Anyway, I thought she did fine, though. I just think the character didn't really stick out too much, honestly. But I just also like the scale and the scope of everything, how it ended up being in the end, while still kind of feeling like this really self-contained exploration of what they were doing here. The engineers are also pretty intense, and there's a couple creatures in the movie that definitely feel like they could be similar to the xenomorphs in a way without actually being them, but it's still kind of cool to see things almost like them. So that was pretty awesome. Okay, I'm not really, my review, Bloody Jacob's review of Prometheus, it was awesome. Yeah, that's about how deep I get, I guess. But again, I told you what to expect with this video. Just hold on a second. Alright. But yeah, so overall I did enjoy this movie. I liked it. I think it's going to help kind of pull me one way or the other after I watch it again. And I mean, I don't understand everything about it, but I think it's definitely worth watching. I think it's a very unique movie as well. I'm glad in a way. Yeah, I want to see xenomorphs tearing people apart or headbutting them or whatever, but I almost appreciated that it went a different way and it kind of went off and became its own thing. I'm curious about Alien Covenant. I know it has more of what we were expecting, but I hope they still have some themes, with the characters and stuff like that, but we'll see. I did like this movie. If I had to rate it right now, though, I'd rate it, solid B. It did feel like a little bit long. I don't know if that's actually the case. It's a little over 2 hours, but then again, I think everything in the movie sort of justified the runtime. Pacing-wise, despite it, me just saying it felt a little bit long, pacing-wise, I think it was actually pretty on point, the way things built, and just how they went about, any little information they put out there without, giving us nearly all the answers. I thought it was all really well handled. If I watch this again, I could see myself giving it maybe a B+ or something like that, but we'll see. But overall, I highly recommend you watch this movie, if you haven't yet, for some reason, like I did. But yeah, so follow me on Facebook, Twitter, subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.